Hello, my name is Veronica, and welcome into the Learning Lab, where I encourage you to make each day your masterpiece. This is what adorns the back wall of my craft room, and I absolutely love seeing that every time I walk in to create. But I'd like to pan you down and share with you my ideas for using the We Are Memory Keepers tag punchboard. Come on in and let's get started. I've been having a bit of fun playing around with this tag punchboard from We Are Memory Keepers. And of course, I picked mine up at Tuesday morning, but it has a little handle that you will lift up. Got some paper caught there. Place your paper in, let it down, use this blade that comes with it to cut across in order to cut your material, and then use the hole punch to punch it. So what I'd like to do is show you one that I did. It's not adorned or decorated. This is mainly a tips video, but I use my Martha Stewart doily punch to get this edge on here. And it is the vintage doily one. And these are the two that go together. And this is how I end up with this cute little bottom onto this tag. So what I've done is I have just cut some 65-pound weight paper that you can get at Michael's. I love buying that white cardstock. And this piece actually does measure 3 inches by 4 1/4 inches. So that's what we're going to work with just for now for this demonstration. So I'm going to put this in, and I want to take off just a little bit on the edge because I want a wide tag. So I'm doing this one at the letter D. And it's lining it up, and it's showing me it's barely going to take off the tip. So you press this down, remove this. This portion right here is what's going to go into that channel on the green piece. This part, the blade, and it's very sharp, so be careful, is what's going to go against your paper. Green into the channel, holding it down, swipe it across, and it's gone. I'm going to lift this, flip it over, keeping it on the D, because that's what I'm cutting on. Pull this down. Same thing. The green is in the channel. Take it off. There I have a beautiful tag. Now I'm just going to turn it to the side here. And because my paper was cut at 3, I'm going to line it up with the 3-inch mark. Should probably come in a little. Going to line it up here at the 3-inch mark. And that should put my hole right in the center for my punch. And it did. Gotta love it. Okay, so let's do another one, but this time let's place it on this one on the E. Going to hold this down to stabilize it. Then flip it to the other side. Stabilizing it again. Whoops. Let's do that again. Okay. Then we're going to put it over here on the 3 because all of mine are cut to 3. Punch a hole. Now we're getting to see how differently that can look. This is the E, and this one was the D. Okay. Now we have one more to add to our collection. This is in a little bit of order. This was my D. This was my E. And now that's the F. And you can just tell right away that as we go higher in the alphabet, and of course higher on the punch, our heels get a little steeper. So let's do a couple more. I have a couple more pieces of paper here. And this one, let's see, how about we skip up quite a bit and go to, I did G, let's do I. And then I'll go up to K on the last one. Whoa, this is going to be steep. Wow. Look at I. And we're going to punch it. So here I'm making sure that I'm lining up with the 3 on each side. That one's a little off. I could do better. And let's do the highest one. Well, not the highest one because I said I was going to K, but I'll go to L. Let's do L. Whoa. And you can see just from the way that paper is slanted in there, this is almost like cutting it in half. And if I were going to do an L, I'm thinking I would like to do an L on a narrower piece, because when I put this in and it cuts here and I flip it over, I don't know, y'all. Should I go for L? Yeah, why not? Go for L. Take that L. Oh, the way some of those football teams are doing today. Every time I open my phone, there's an update on my app because my son has decided to install all of them onto my phone. So, you know. This one is just making my tag much smaller. So it's very similar to this. It's very similar to this. It just made it shorter. Let's see if I can get it in the right spot to punch my hole. Going to try to see if I can slide this in from the back and get that into the tip there. And yeah, this is one I don't think I would use. This is not one I think I would regularly use because trying to get that centered into that spot might be a little difficult. But anyway, cute little concept, cute little idea for when you don't want to pull out your machines. We all have those electronic machines and those die cutting machines. And if you're traveling, this also might be something that you would want to take with you. So these tags were all done on that lightweight paper. But as you all know, I love a heavy paper and I love a heavy cardstock. So I went into my 110-pound weight and I thought, what if I want to make a really big tag? And so I made this one. It's huge. Oh my goodness. Let's pull in this green for some contrast. But look at that. Isn't that a big, beautiful tag surface on which to work? I love it. So how did I get it to be this large and get everything perfect? Okay, so what I did was I just took a piece. So this piece of 5.5 by 8.5 inch piece of paper, I just put my ruler across there and made a mark 1/4 of an inch in from each side. So let's bring this one back in. And so here's what I did. I wanted to make sure this little blue mark was lined up on wherever I wanted to cut, and depending on how much I wanted to cut off of each side. So for mine, I went to the E, I think. Yes, I went to the E on that one, and I just made sure my little blue mark was on the cut line. Take that out. We're going to put it in, stabilize it, and cut it. And because my paper is long and I probably used a different cut line, I didn't go all the way to the end, but no worries, because guess what I can do? Snip that off. Oh. Okay, what line did I use? I think I used D. So now I'm going to take this, and because I am going to flip it over, I really can't see where that mark is. So what I did was I just pressed in a little deeper so I can go on the back and make it show up. Go back to my D line and make sure this is just right at the cut line again, which it is. Take my little cutter, put it in a groove, come back down, and again, because I'm doing a different angle than I did on my other one, I'm just going to have to meet it up. But there you go. Beautiful. And then turn to punch it in the center. And I am using these two that are right here on either, just like halfway between 3 and 2.5. So I'm at 2.25. I'm sorry, 2 3/4, because that's half of 5.5. And I'm just going to slide that up and give it a punch. And there's a nice large tag ready to be used. So with that being said, here's where I pulled in my Martha Stewart punches. Now I have this beautiful one, and it is, I know I labeled it. It's gone. Or maybe I didn't label it. Maybe I got it in and just never put a label on it, which is not like me at all, because I have this on. The rack that I store them on, some of them are slipping through. So what I did was I just got some hook and loop tape, put on a glue dot and put it on there, and it keeps it from sliding off my little metal rack. Plus, this is a little more comfy on my thumb when I'm punching. So let's oh, wow. So as you can see, this cut out beautifully, but now I need to line it up on the sides down here. So if I come to this side, you will see where I have that lined up. All right, got that punched down. And now I'm going to come to the other side. Make sure it's lined up. And make sure it's pushed all the way to the back. And here, and now I have this big, beautiful tag with some lovely punch work at the bottom. Nice. Okay, Valentine is coming up, so let's do the lattice heart. See how many of those we can get to punch out on here. Okay, and it looks like, okay, that is definitely in the center. That took some work, but here's what I noticed already about this. My heart's gonna be upside down. Which, I mean, it's okay. What if I had punched it up here? You know what? Let's try it. I'm going to turn this over. What if I had punched the heart up here? Uh-oh. I'm going to have to give this some strength. I wouldn't recommend punching it like that unless you're able to really squeeze it. And it took away my circle. I was trying to keep it from doing that, but it took it anyway. So that has now defeated the whole thing. Yeah. Epic fail on that. Or not, because guess what I'm about to do? You got it. I'm about to chop that off. After all, this is the learning lab. That's an idea gone awry. Don't do that one. I'm going to chop off just where the cutting part was. And we'll now get rid of this heart. And we'll have a short, fat tag that we're going to work with. Okay, guys, I am sorry. I have a couple of friends who've been texting back and forth about going to a winery tomorrow. And I didn't turn off notifications on my smartphone, and that's what's operating my camera. So they've just been interrupting. I do apologize, but I've had to chop my paper down some more. I thought it was 5 inches, but it's not. It is 4 7/8. So what I am going to do on here is take off about, maybe, I'm going to mark it off since my paper is much smaller now. How about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8 in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. we'll see. I think I need to come down and do that again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And because I have that press mark in, I can turn it over to the back and make a little dot also for when I have to flip it over. Now this is going here, and I want it to go just outside of my cut line. And it looks like I'm on letter H for this. All right. And we're going to take it, flip it over, and I'm still going up to letter H. And there the mark is, just on the other side of my cut line. And so now I'm going to cut it. Beautiful, looks good. And now I'm lining it up where I can see the 3 just about on either side and giving that a punch perfectly in the center, and it's a bigger tag. And granted, my edges on here are a little sharper, and that's because I had to trim my paper down. Brought back the arabesque chain to use. Let's see how that's going to work. Now the way these are, this does not punch all the way through. It actually remains connected to the card, and what I'm doing now is just centering this on the punch. Oh, the little pieces that fall out are actually pretty cute, but wow. But wow, look at that. So now I'm just going to match this up over here and make sure this piece is all the way against the back wall. Whoops, not yet. You're not. Bring it over a bit. There we go. Cool. Then we're going over to the other side and do the same thing. Just match these up and making sure that last solid piece is flush up against the back wall. You shouldn't have a problem. And there it is. Oh wow, look at that arabesque chain. And then look at this, I think it's Deco Arts, but look at that. And what if you were to layer this on top of here? Isn't that gorgeous with that beautiful white on white? I am just bowled over. Now, another thing you can do, of course, is to put this through your die cut machine using one of your embossing folders. So let's find something that we can emboss with and pull out the die cut machine. So I am going for my trusty dusty Cuttlebug. Has been with me for a very, very, very long time. And for this, you're going to need your A plate, a B plate, an embossing folder, and then another B plate to go on top. Okay, I do have to remind myself to turn off notifications next time. But I've gotten a folder, and I'm putting my B plate on top, and then we are just going to run this through. I did have to turn my machine around because I realized my handle was on the camera side. So, pull this out, and then we get this. Oh my goodness, that is beautimous. Can you just imagine that as a tag? If they were both cut the same size, and you could just layer 3 or 4 tags underneath, and that is just gorgeous. Oh my word. And it hasn't seen one piece of ink. I am going to need some contrast here. So let's bring in a piece of paper and look at this. Let's turn it sideways. And there you can see it. Just imagine another shape in between here and you have a beautiful layered tag. This is really cool. Could I have done this by putting in the trimmer and cutting it myself? Yes, I could have. But what I would have risked were these edges not being the same. And trust me, I have tried it before and they were not the same. But this is just incredibly beautiful. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So here is another idea for the little punches. Any of these that you have, or any edge dies that you have, you can use those to make these come to life. So now you can have whatever kind of edge you want on your tags, and you're not limited. There it is, cute tag. So pull out those Martha Stewart punches, I know you all have them, and get punching on making yourself some tags. These are the holly leaves, and you just want to kind of eyeball where you are in the center. As always, thank you for joining me in the Learning Lab. Please be sure to check out my blog at inkallusions.blogspot.com. Until then.